Hello everyone and welcome back to this Winners Round 2 matchup between KingsIndian and PrussianPrince. This time the map choice is KingsIndian. He chose Kanto Plains. Interesting choice. I don't think we've seen this map yet. I can't really remember it. It's actually kind of interesting. It's fairly flat, but very hilly too in sort of subtle ways, which makes some very interesting terrain decisions and could potentially see some subtle micro action that could really turn the battle. So look at the armies here. Not too different from KingsIndian. Definitely is an infantryman, it seems like. Even on this flat map, not bringing very much cavalry, only 2 units. Just going to double check. Yeah, they're Katana cavalry. His general is also dismounted, so that's very interesting to see. PrussianPrince is going big on the cavalry in this one, seeing as it's a fairly flat map. He's got his Great Guard out there, some light cavalry as well. And actually I think it's going to be at just Great Guard and light cavalry. A couple matchlocks, one on each side guarded by spears, and a front line of Katana Samurai. No no-dachis this time, it looks like, for PrussianPrince, but he's not the one that has to attack on this battle, so maybe not such a bad thing. This is also in the rain, which is an interesting choice. Being definitely a more infantry-focused build, it's good to slow down the enemy cavalry with the rain a little bit. So good choice there by KingsIndian on his train. He's actually moving over to the forest too, and looks like he wants to try to engage PrussianPrince in the forest, which would be another boost in this fight against PrussianPrince's cavalry, as they get a pretty big attack penalty in the forest. And PrussianPrince is spreading out fairly wide. He's going to maybe try and funnel him into the matchlocks here. I think that might be what he's planning. And there the matchlocks are already shooting, but going into Yariashi Garu, so going to do a good job of absorbing bullets and actually not killing very many men at all. He's only killed 6 Yariashi Garu so far. Kind of surprising from something like a matchlock samurai, but those trees are doing their job there to affect the line of sight. Already popping his rally too for PrussianPrince, which is interesting. Might be planning on going to stand and fight very soon. That's one reason to pop your rally early, is because, well, you can't really pop rally when you're in stand and fight. So maybe that's why he's doing it, but who knows. I already have wavering. They're broken from the Yariashi Garu. It looks like they took a big charge here from the Katana Samurai, and they're already going to be off the field. So KingsIndian has chosen to engage here and take out PrussianPrince's army, maybe in little chunks, but he's going to be very careful not get flanked here. Looks like he has a Naginata monk going to kind of plug this hole right here. Maybe the Yariashi Garu will respond as well. Again, he has a lot of spears, and in the rain in the forest will mean that this cavalry will be at a big disadvantage, so that will work in his favor. If he can grind out this infantry battle, he should have a pretty solid chance at winning this battle. Neither side really going very big on the bet. You see a couple chevrons here and there. Surprisingly, on the PrussianPrince, his general has 4 chevrons. An interesting place to spend the money there if he's not going to be using it in melee. Here we have some routing already from PrussianPrince, as this flank looks like it's going to get cleaned up pretty easily. The matchlocks are retreating though, and that will actually leave KingsIndian free to maneuver along this path and maybe clean up the huge chunk here. Oh, this is huge. These Naginata monks can make a big charge into the back of these katanas, which should really cripple PrussianPrince, but his rear is getting attacked, and the Yariashi Garu are probably not going to be able to stand up very long against that katana and matchlock assault from over on his rear. Naginata monks moving in, maybe trying just to block off these units going for the katanas, but it doesn't look like they're going to get there in time, as this Yari Samurai is going to be able to make it to the rear, and that's going to be a charge going into the back of the Katana Samurai. If he can obliterate this chunk here, he'll be at a huge advantage. That's a big part of PrussianPrince's melee force, and actually that's going to be all of his Katana Samurai except for these 2 right here. So very big advantage for KingsIndian if he takes out the chunk right there. Light cavalry's getting caught by the Yari Samurai and will be routing. Need to find where his Great Guard are. There they are. There's one of them going into the general, but a Yariashi Garu is going to get there just in time to save the general, it looks like. So his cavalry is now stuck in the middle of KingsIndian's forces and might get cleaned up here. Oh, no, he's pulling out, but he did lose about half his men. So there it is. The big chunk of PrussianPrince has been just annihilated here. And even more Katana Samurai rushing in to help, but already wavering, and the general too is going to get hit now. This is really big, because KingsIndian did a great job of winning the maneuvering fight early on, and he definitely has the advantage right now, especially if he can take out the general right here. This game is pretty much over, as we have routing all over PrussianPrince. He's too spread out. It's a great thing about being surrounded sometimes, that it's easier to keep your army in your general's radius, and most of PrussianPrince's army is far away from his general, and he's going to clean up the general right here. All he's down to 16 men, and he still has plenty of units back in his rear to cover from PrussianPrince. So really great maneuvering there with a mostly infantry-based army. That you don't really see that kind of good micro with an infantry army like that, but KingsIndian does a great job. I actually didn't see where his cavalry ended up going. There they are. Ended up going into the chunk over here. I didn't really see him move on early on in the match, so it must have been great micro to fool even me. There we go, mass routing here for Prussian Prince. He just has a few units left. He's got his matchlocks, 2 cavalry units, and a Naginata monk versus this huge horde of infantry from KingsIndian. So it looks like KingsIndian is going to take it, and even if the series 1-1 on his home turf, and we'll be going to Chugoku River, but he's got to clean up this a little bit first. Matchlock's getting a big shot into the Yarishigaru, just shattering them. So maybe putting up a desperate last stand. The Alamo of Japan here, guarded by this Matchlock Samurai. We're going to have a field day just shooting enemies down, just racking up kills. They're already up to about 60 kills. But then again, they don't have a very good shooting angle. They'll be going right into the back of their own men, so that's not going to really work out too well for Prussian Prince. Oh, he's got 10 more kills since I last reported on him, so they are still doing a pretty good job. And, oh, Prussian Prince is coming back here with the light cavalry. But still, there's just so much left for KingsIndian. I don't think anything is going to pull this back in Prussian Prince's favor. More routing here. I think he's really got to shut down these Matchlock Samurai, which are now at 91 kills. Getting kind of ridiculous. Maybe send the Yari Samurai in rapid advance to go finish that off, or even this Katana Cavalry sitting here at 13 men. And there goes the Naginata Warrior Monk. So all of the infantry, the melee infantry at least, is gone from Prussian Prince. And that will mean that KingsIndian's forces will be able to clean up here no problem. Look at all these bodies. Living ones, that is. KingsIndian still has a huge force here, going a big infantry-style army. And you know, a lot of times, infantry-heavy armies get sort of bashed as spam, but I think what we saw in that battle, that wasn't just throwing his blob at the enemy. I think he did a great job of positioning and choosing his battles and dividing his force accordingly. Really great job there by KingsIndian to pull this back, especially against a very good opponent like Prussian Prince. Prince had his own good micro in that battle, but it wasn't enough. KingsIndian got the better of it, especially being there in the forest. So rapid advances on the Yari Samurai, and Prussian Prince is kind of pulling back here to maybe get a better engagement, but there is the rule against indefinitely pulling your forces back, but I doubt we'll have to exercise that, as he will probably be turning around any second now to try and get a last stand. Just trying to put up as good of a last stand as he can. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. Though he is much less tired. So Prussian Prince getting a little better of the fatigue battle here, but it's gonna be over soon. The cavalry is actually dismounted here for the Great Guard, gonna finish this one out on foot. And they are gonna make it into melee. Just giving us a little show here, it looks like, in the end. Wavering at 13 men. Guess we can watch a little bit too. Oh, there goes that guy. There goes the Great Guard. The Matchlocks have stopped and try to shoot. Ooh, that's a Katana hero going into him, so no chance of that Matchlock standing and fighting. Matchlocks over here have formed up as well, trying to get KingsIndian's army separate a little bit to maybe start a chain route, I think. So not for dishonorable reasons. Prussian Prince was pulling back. Fairly legitimate, so no big deal. And he has stopped, and there they've met the lines, and he's conceded defeat. So the series is tied up 1-1. See back on the main menu. KingsIndian just had a very good performance on that map. I thought that his choice of map, his choice of positioning, where to fight the battle, was all great. Really great micro too. The one thing about having the huge armies that are more quantity size, they actually end up being very hard to micro because there's just so much you have to worry about. But he really did a good job there. So the series is now tied up 1-1, going on to the third map, Chugoku River, of course. Though it's starting in round 3, there will be a new map for the tiebreaker. So enjoy your Chugoku River while it's there, because in round 3 it'll be a new map. So I will see you there. Thanks for watching, everybody.